this out there. But without you guys, we wouldn't be able to do it. With the help of the community, we've gotten so much further than we ever thought possible. There is a lot more work that we could use, a lot more help that we could use. There's just so much. I know that it's hard to follow. Most people are on Facebook and seeing what's going on. And Facebook, it doesn't go in how it's at the time that it's put in. Facebook doesn't always go that way. And all of a sudden you're back up here, and that's from March 7th, and down here it's from April 10th, and you're going, what the hell's going on? We don't know. We have no idea. No, I'm kidding. It keeps you guys engaged. Anything that you find important, I think it would be better to put that towards info at neveragainmosslanding.org. That way we can put it into the website. The website has been redone, and Brian never sleeps, and he's not going to be able to sleep for the next year and a half, just putting the information into the website. But when there's something that you find that's important, please put it in there so that it can be put into the website, and then everybody can go to the website, and it's broken out into legal. Help me here.
Vistra, Monterey and Santa Cruz, state, other power plants, other battles, all that stuff is there. It's tags. If you're familiar with tags, I've learned this over the last couple of years, but you can go in. Anyway, just go there and check it out. You'll see it's pretty straightforward.
Another big thing that I want you guys all to know, all those pictures that are over there, it's Matt that's walking around.
Hey, Matt! He's showing it, man. I had no idea how beautiful that place is. I had no idea.
He is out there every day in the slough taking pictures. You see it on the Facebook pages. This is incredible. And if he did not ask me to do this, I'm doing it. If anyone would like to purchase any pictures, the amount of time and just the amount of gas money it takes to get there. He lives in Salinas, he does not live at the slough. If anyone would like to buy pictures, anything you can do there. We really do need more help from the community in different aspects, like
data entry.
There you go.
If you've ever set up a not-for-profit, if you've got a legal background, if you have a marketing background, a fundraising background, you know, we've got these skill sets, but we just don't have time. So to the degree that you have time, if you're retired or you have expertise in these areas, you know, even somebody hopefully here or out in the world is going to say, I have time to get this stuff on the website. And I can show you how to do it. I can give you the keys to the kingdom. You can go in there, you can start putting it up. And it would be a huge help because I got about 150 to 200 things on my desktop. I don't have time to do it. Okay, yes, sir.
Yeah, on your website, does it say the side effects of these lithium batteries on there?
There are reports there about what those potential side effects are.
There is reports
Yeah,
from
absolutely.
Vistra company?
No, everything there is from other sources, like scientists that have studied the effects of these chemicals on the human body. And reports about what happens when you take a fire that's upwards of 5,000 degrees that burns, what it does to the metals, vaporizes them, which means that they're a lot more toxic to us when they get in us.
Yeah.
So all that information is there, JJ. Please go see it, and there's a lot more to put up there.
I got another question. That you guys started this Moss Landing,
Never Again Moss
the
Landing.
website and all that? You're
Yeah,
the ones that are doing all that?
Volunteer citizen. We met here, we'll talk about it a little more. We met here 90 days ago, basically, today, give or take, in this room. 200 people showed up. A lot of you were here. Several hundred online. It was all volunteer. It was our community coming together to try and figure out what the fuck just happened to us.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I cursed, but if you don't mind, we got a couple kids here. I'll stop doing
Who's
it.
paying for the posters and stuff like that? You got donations?
No, this is just us doing this. We've got some donations. but we're out of pocket far more than the donations. We track
Oh, yeah?
every dollar. We haven't collected nearly what it is that we're out of pocket.
Why we wanted you guys here tonight is to talk to each other. You know, Facebook, yeah, it says this, and it says this, and it says this. But when you're talking to each other, and you go, you know what? That's what happened to me, or this is how I feel. And boom, 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 boom. And then you sit there and talk to each other, and you come up with ideas. Kathleen, you know what you're going to do? You're going to do this. And Terry's going to do this. And, you know, I was thinking about this. What do you guys think? Should we talk to the core group to have them do something about this? This is about you guys. What do you need? What do you want? Most of you know what we have done and where we are at this point. And we're getting a little bit brain fried. We're getting a whole bunch brain fried.
That's what you call it?
You know,
I call it something else.
well, if you have something, you know what? I think you guys should go this way. May I suggest you do this? Boom, boom, boom. We are so willing to hear that, and that's what we want from you guys. We want you guys to let us know where we go next.
Okay,
Not that we're going to stop
excuse me.
doing what we're doing.
What's our local senator doing that?
Well,
We're
that's
in
gonna
his
make it- it's a great question.
jurisdiction.
Let's-
What's his name?
When Tanya's done, we'll talk about that real quick. I'll let you know. We've got a lot about that.
All right, get in the bed.
Folks, let's thank Tanya.
Thank you guys.
So 90 days ago, Tanya and Ed and Heather and Angie and a couple other folks met at a table right here. Monday after the fire, at noon we never met. And Tanya had gotten us together, and Angie helped distribute that to the Facebook groups, and Heather did. And a lot of you showed up, and there was a lot of fear and anger and confusion. And what we did is we decided that we were going to try and start thinking about what we want to try and do about this. That's where it all started. 90 days ago. And no, that's not a zombie movie, okay? 90 days ago. Sounds like it. Our lives have kind of been like it. That's where it all started. Just people in our neighborhood. And Tanya is our fearless leader because she's the one who said, we got to get people together. Right? And Angie, fortunately, and Heather had created those Facebook groups. And by the time we got together, there were almost 2,500 people on Angie's page, which is now the symptoms page, right? So, it's been a wild ride, especially for you guys. And Angie and I have been able to get out, right? We're buying a house over on the coast. Most of you guys can't get out. I always say it's torn our lives apart, but God, we were able to get out because Angie was really sick. And Atticus, we were so worried about. We were so worried about. And Liza got out because of you guys. Liza got out because of you guys. Many of you made donations. She was on a boat, pregnant, 6 months, 5 months pregnant, on a boat. And she now is safe with her family up in the mountains above Aptos. This community did that. It might have saved that child's life. It might have saved that woman's life. That's what community does. Yeah, I'm giving myself shivers just thinking about it. And then other people came along. You're Sharon here. Others who came along and said, how can I help? Many of you. So what Tanya said is true. We need help, and if you can, it's great. Because guess what? Calvary's not coming. I started talking to Glenn almost 2 months ago. He was here that first night. He's not here tonight because he could really only come as a citizen, and he was worried it was redirect us, okay? It'd be about Glenn answering questions, and I asked him specifically, Glenn, if you feel you can come as a resident, come, but if you're coming and you think you're going to have to be a supervisor, don't come. And he wants to be here. But that's not what tonight's about. Like Tanya said, this is about us. The best thing to happen, the only good thing to happen, other than Liza getting out, Matt taking these amazing pictures, I've got a few back home, is the community that our group has formed. And part of our concern is that some of you haven't had a chance to be a part of that. JJ, who I just met tonight, has been over there alone, just hanging out, trying to figure out what the hell's going on, which is why I have all these questions, which we're going to answer some of them. But tonight, he's finding community, I hope. He served this country. We're here to serve each other, because the cavalry is not coming. Second, we got this nice gentleman here who's starting to keep track of what we're doing. He's got a YouTube channel. What's your name?
Wes Wyatt, I'm from Salinas. Do anything helpful and positive, civic, social, environmental justice orient. It's called John Doe 13K, 2 words.
Thank you. Thanks, Wes. And we have a couple of young ladies from UCSC here tonight who are kind of studying for one of their classes and also collecting information to write an article for the Monterey Herald, which put out a really great article about 2-3 weeks ago. It was one of the most comprehensive we've seen. One of the things we've been doing is that we've been trying like mad to keep this story alive. We're 90 days in, and this is still a story. One week I'll be down because I think it's dead. The next week I'll be up because Bloomberg just wrote a story and printed it this week. Or whatever it is. New York Times was early on. I thought, hey, we got it. Now, talk to Morgan Chesky at NBC. He can't get his editors to pick up this story, but he's sure trying. Still. Local people, a lot of local stations, been a lot of good coverage. A little bit about what we've done. You heard, we're just trying to continue the story going. We put out a bunch of press releases when something's happening. Yesterday was a busy day. This is a really busy week. Yesterday, we were in Monterey County protesting John Laird's absence. And he is. He's just run away from it. He's not bringing the cavalry, folks. I've been a fanboy since he was in city politics back in the early 80s. He's gone. John's gone. Where's John? Where's John? Where's Laird?
Laird's not here.
Laird's not here. John's gone. We were doing that with a bullhorn yesterday outside his office. Now, to his credit, unlike in Santa Cruz, his manager, office manager, came out and spoke to us for almost an hour. And she listened. We'll see what happens. But John's working behind the scenes great, but he's not in our community. He's not here representing us. He's not hearing from us. Tanya and I met with him about 6 weeks ago. He said, I'll do a lot. We said, we're watching. We haven't seen him. We're on the website, right? So the website's up. I'm just trying to get stuff in there. Anybody who wants to help, I've got hundreds of documents on my desk at this point, and I'm trying to get them uploaded, but I'm also moving and packing, and Angie's sick, and so she can't come to the house very often. They got to find a place for the pigs and the dog. Well, wait a second. This sounds familiar, right? You're all trying to figure out how to deal with this shit. Sorry, Liza. Your kid's wise, I know. We're all trying to figure out what to do with this. We're not alone. That's our story. It's just one of many. You're going to be telling yours tonight to each other. We have a survey. I promised by Saturday, close of business, it'll be at the website. I just got to put in the button and the link. It's gone out in emails. Most of you probably got it. The survey is to just give us a first cut on what we're doing and what you think we need to do. You know, fill it out. It doesn't hurt. I'm going to get my first report. It's 1 week as of tomorrow. I'll get a first cut. We're going to let it stay open for a month, but don't wait. Okay? And then we'll collate all that. It'll go to you guys, just like everything else. It's all open. We don't take stuff and hold on to it. Okay? So let us know what you find there. Hunter Brook, they've been doing great work. I met with their editor yesterday at the Hout Enchilada. Kim says hi, by the way, to everybody. If you know Kim, she's the heart of Moss Landing in many ways. Bloomberg, Status Quo's done great work. NBC Bay Area did an amazing piece. New York Times, others. They've interviewed a lot of you guys. They're trying to keep the story alive. And that's what we need, right? Because everything was hitting the fan when this happened, and they overlooked it. That doesn't mean it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that people aren't trying. There are good people out there trying to tell our story for us. Places we need help, more specifically. We could use help with data entry, fundraising, anybody with legal background, not-for-profit creation, media, events, but any of you guys could do warm bodies. The board of supervisors meets every week. We were there on Tuesday. And they made us wait for 4 hours before they brought it up. They didn't have to do that, but they did. Some of you had to leave. Some of you stuck through to the bitter end. You can see it, it's online. And the point was we were trying to get them to vote to support both 303, Don Addis's bill, and SB 283, I think it is, which is Laird's. Now, I'm not happy with Laird, but at least he's got a bill. And it's not a great bill because it doesn't include us in it, right? It's like, okay, we got firefighters, we got things that you do with them, and then we've got the labor unions there, and that's great. I'm a labor union guy, I got no problem with that. But at the end of the day, it's not us. We're not in that. And one of the things we said about never again from the very beginning is we want our community in the room when decisions are being made. Number two, we want to make sure this never happens again. That these batteries that they're going to burn, it doesn't. They don't keep getting to do this. They don't keep getting to install these things and operate them. Okay, that's what we've said from the beginning. My personal goal is to find out what the hell happened to us. Right? I'm doing everything I can to find that out.
Why didn't they pass? Why didn't they pass?
So what happened is that, Nancy, great question. What happened is just, they need 3 out of 5 votes. 2 are opposed, the 2 guys, other than Glenn, are opposed, basically.
They're opposed to doing 2?
They don't want to support Dawn's, right? I think behind the scenes, Laird's made some calls. I don't know that. But Laird's on the record as saying he doesn't want to do 303. 303 puts a lot, neither bill is perfect. They're both quite imperfect, but at least Dawn's bill puts some control back in the hands of the community, right? Some accountability back in the hands of the community. So Glenn fought really hard Tuesday for that. And I think that there was one of the vote potential on the board, and I just don't think she was clear enough to go the right way. Instead, she waffled and said, let's send off a letter, which was not what we were asking for.
To send a letter to who?
The state, but not necessarily a letter, just saying, well, can you work on this and what? They're going to meet again next month, and we're going to try and have the 3 votes, and I think we will. I could be wrong, I've been wrong before, but I think we will. But you can be there. Every week they meet. And all you have to do is just show up, and then at the beginning, so in the morning, see what time they start. If they start at 10:30, they have public comments by 11. Generally. Half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour at the very latest. If they start at 9 or 8, be there, and then within an hour you can get up and just say, I'm here, because it's open mic. And you can just say, I'm here. You've got 2 minutes and say, I'm here to tell you we need your help.
And next Tuesday is the update.
Every Tuesday.
But next
So
Tuesday
next
is-
month, it'll be a month from this Tuesday, the next time they revisit whether or not they're going to support those 2
Oh,
bills.
that. But this next Tuesday is also about Moss Landing.
Right, and if it's on the agenda, then you need to find out when that's going to be on the agenda and be there then if you want it specifically addressed. But if it's not on the agenda, you can speak during the public comment time, okay? So
And
being
then
there,
also, it is also on Zoom. Every B.E.S. meeting is on Zoom. If you can't be there in person, you can speak up on Zoom. And the more people that talk about it and say why you want this to go through, or why you don't want this to go through, the more that they're going to listen
Yeah.
to the community.
some people are counting us to stop showing up. And then it's on us. They get to move on. They expect us to move on. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. It's up to us. Which gets me kind of to the point of tonight, and then we're going to talk about how we're going to do what we're going to do. So the point of tonight is, for me, because the cavalry's not coming, we're the cavalry. I've been talking to people all over the country. I've been talking to folks out in East Palestine, remember that place where the train derailed? Cavalry never came. Talking to a toxicologist with an environmental disaster firm out in Virginia. He's like, yeah, it's been the same since the 1980s. I think that I always assume that when these terrible things happen, the government shows up and helps. We're learning otherwise, guys. Terrible lesson.
They helped bury it.
It's very disappointing, demoralizing. Here's the good news. We're already doing, I've heard this from several people, what we've already done in this community exceeds what almost any community has ever done. The work that we've done in this room, the people in this room and other people who can't be here tonight, has done something that rarely is done. We've organized already. We've told our story. It's still out there. We're still advocating for ourselves. And here's what's important. It's not just for us, it's for the rest of the world. I'm talking to people, Tanya's talking to people from around the world saying we're trying to figure out what to do. You guys burned, and this is our rallying cry, which is why we fought so hard to get the county to support both those bills, as flawed as they were. Because it means something. In fact, Kate from Carmel, Big Sur rep, she said, any other county I wouldn't vote for AB 303, Don's bill. but we're unique, we're Monterey, this is where it happened. So if the rest of the board supports it, I will support this, even though I wouldn't normally vote for it. Because we're Monterey, this is where it happened, okay? So, tonight.
I got a question.
Yes, sir, yeah,
Has
let's
the-
have a couple of Q&As and I'll tell you what's going on, all right?
Has the supervisor of Monterey asked his corporate to come and answer questions?
No,
Are you kidding me?
nope,
Why?
because he is running away from the issue. He's very committed, this is my view now. My view is that John Laird is very committed to decarbonization. I don't have a problem with that. He's very committed to the tech, and at the heart of the tech are batteries that store the rooftop energy that's generated during the day and makes it available to us at night. That all makes perfectly good sense so far. The problem is the tech doesn't work. Now what they're saying is that there's new tech, better chemistry, and we're putting it in smaller containers. That's all well and good unless you live across from Aptos High and one of these things pop, because they can still pop.
Right.
And when that happens, my mom, who lives over here, my dad who lives over there, and the high school I went to are going to get fucked up.
These major law firms that are going, that want our business, when something like this happens, man, it goes all the way to the bottom. In other words, the county of Monterey is liable, the supervisors are liable, Monterey City is liable, the state is liable. It goes on and on and on and on,
No,
you know.
it actually, the ones that are liable would be Vistra and PG&E.
And LLC.
Well, these law firms that you're talking about that many of us have been speaking with, they are not charging us to be covered by them, to be helped by them. This is a mass tort. That mass tort is, you're not responsible for 25 cents to them. You're not responsible for 10 cents to them. No one pays anything up front. And these people, these different law firms are there to help us get what we need, whether that's medical coverage for the rest of our lives, because we have no idea what the hell this is going to do to us. Or
Well, we have an
whether,
idea, unfortunately, but that's a
well,
separate issue.
but it's, different for everybody.
Yeah.
Or whether I can no longer use the water out of my well,
Yeah.
or whether I can't sell my property now for what it's worth, what it was worth January 1st. This is what needs to be taken care of by the law firms. What we need to be taking care of as the community is making sure that the government does not allow another thing to happen like this,
Yeah.
ever. So they're two very different things that we're working for the community.
Also,
Does that make sense?
Also, JJ, real quick, to the particulars of what you just said, and here's what we learned, it'll be next. The highest authority to review this, aside from the state, which checked all the boxes, was the Planning Commission. And here's what I tell people. The Planning Commission is moms and pops, farmers, and small business owners. They were in no way prepared for what it was that they were asked to approve. I could have been on that board. I was the president of the Chamber of Commerce in my town in Virginia when I lived there. But the point is that the company didn't come in and they weren't strangers. The risks were stated and they were far undersold for what it was. The people in this county, good people, said this all sounds good. There's taxes, the state's checked every box saying that this is something we should do. It's green, that sounds great. Now we know better. We don't turn on, we don't have, I'm not saying that we are, but we don't, I've talked to a lot of good people in our government who want to find solutions. A lot of them live here, right? And they're waiting for the state. It's not happening. So for me, it begins at the state level and goes up from there, where the failure is, okay? What I'd like to do, if I can, we have a question here. Those were great questions, JG. I know you're just coming to the party. Welcome. We got a lot for you. It's a steep learning curve, and I know that you're ready to learn about it, because I can tell from your questions.
What year did they put them in?
2021, if I can. I've got a question here.
Okay,
It's all at the website.
since it was the world's
Yes.
largest battery store,
Yeah,
70% burnt.
70 to 80, yeah.
Okay,
We don't know
so
exactly.
what is it now? Is Monterey County the second largest in the world?
Well, everything's shut down, other than, this is important, they have a natural gas generation facility there, so the batteries are battery storage. They buy it cheap during the day when there's all kinds of excess energy off the rooftops and the windmills. They save it, and at night they sell it to us for a premium. And they're making money off of us in the entire food chain, right? So all of that is shut down right now. There's two or three, there's another building that's a little bit smaller, 100 megawatt, that's still there, just like this one was 300. That one's shut down. The Tesla's shut down, right? The Tesla PG&E facility. All the batteries on the site are shut down. They're still generating energy from the natural gas. So whenever you see smoke and stuff, that's that. Because I've talked to Glenn, and he said, and I believe him, the pile was completely out about 3 weeks ago when we had that last big rain, okay? So it's not off-gassing anymore. They said that it wasn't on fire. It seems clear it was still off-gassing. But that's all done now. It's a cold pile. Why hasn't it been removed? And then I'm going to stop with all this other than to answer your question. It hasn't been removed because that wall is teetering, 50 foot of cement, and they've decided they got to use engineers to straighten it up and get rid of it. But it's not just done with a bulldozer, unfortunately, or a backhoe. Until they stabilize that, they can't touch that pile. They can't even go in there to cover it. And that's where we are. And Glenn thinks it could take months still before that starts happening. Then they have to find a place to haul it because they can't dump it here. The dump won't take this stuff. It's not rated. And they got to figure out how to get it out of here without leaving behind all this toxic dust that's probably in there, right?
Impossible.
Well, we'll have to see. I'm sure they're going to do something. So a lot of you saw a whole bunch of trailers there initially. A lot of them are gone now. They went out empty. They have not touched that pile. Okay?
We're gonna have Expo, the New Living Expo, May 9th through 11th.
Yeah.
More information on that.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, thank you.
I couldn't hear her when she said.
Question about the New Living Expo. So here's what's going on. Thank you so much. Thank you. So there's a woman named Sarah Amanoff. She has a Substack. She's associated with a green organization focused upon green energy. All this is great. She reached out to me a month and a half ago. She ended up writing a marvelous piece. Substack, for those of us who are just figuring this out, is where citizens can write about things and put it up and share it. You got journalists there, you got all kinds of stuff. It's to some degree, it's like having journalism that comes from the people, right? That's what Substack is. So she put up a Substack, a story, with pictures, and I was talking to her, some of us were talking to her, giving her information. She's up in the Bay Area, and she created this wonderful story. Then she reached out and said, well, there's this conference, the annual conference up in Novato, in Marin County, that's coming up in May. What were the dates?
9th through 11th.
Thank you, 9th through 11th. And she said, I want Never Again to be there to tell the story to all these people who are coming there because of green energy. What happens with these batteries? So I'll be speaking, it's on the website, I'll be speaking with a woman named Madeline Adamatsky, who's a professor at San Jose State. We'll be speaking at 7 o'clock on that Saturday night to tell people about what happened. Tell the people who think that this is a great solution, of course, because that's what we thought before this all happened. But also, Sarah's going to be staffing a booth that's a combination of her organization and Never Again, and she needs volunteers. Send an email, info@neveragainlostanding.org, say that's what you want to do, and you'll get free tickets, you'll get to go around the trade show floor. It's a wonderful opportunity. She can get you tickets, she might even help you if you want to do overnight and to stay. She needs help manning the booth. So it'll be, I think, a mutually rewarding thing for anybody who wants to do it. So thank you. If you have questions about it, reach out to me, come see me, I can give you a card, whatever you want, all right? Yes, yes.
Beyond the legislative goals of trying to get more community control over these things coming into our lives, what else do you envision at this moment our goals should be as a group?
That's a great question. I think I've been so busy with others building the car as we do the race, right? How that looks, right? Triage, I used to call it. I just call it lack of sleep. But, and by the way, for those of you who see me talk a couple times, I'm actually a pretty jolly guy. Normally I get up here and be making you all laugh, but it's been tough. So I'm glad to hear some laughter tonight. We need to create an organization, perhaps, right? That'd be great. I've had several people say if you're a nonprofit, I could write you a big check. We don't have time to do that right now. We're still just going around the track.
I will volunteer to help create that if I can get one other volunteer right now.
Can we get a second hand? Anybody that's available to help with setting up the not-for-profit? It's not that hard, it's just time. I've done it, I just don't have time. I'm so sorry. Thank you. Let's make sure before we leave that you,
Yeah.
thank you.
I know.
Thank you. Look, when somebody reaches out and says, can I talk to you? Now, we're not sharing the database, okay? But I do get calls from journalists. I'll tell you one thing that I talked about today. There's a not-for-profit built by a guy who made big bucks off the tech industry. He flew in with his team from the East Coast, and we met at the power plant. And he has somebody on his team who's invented, these are like young scientific people that he funds to be a team and to parachute into issues that come up, right? So he's got a member of his team, Tanya's her name, and she and another guy have come up with like a test. It's a simple blood test with a little bit of specialized equipment that makes it possible to know in real time
I'll give you guys a grand.
things that we can't find out with our blood tests. We're going to need about 20 to 30 people to participate in that,
Address or phone number.
especially if you've had real symptoms. And if you haven't had real symptoms, because we need not a base group, but you know, a control group. Thank you guys, thank you. Control group. So look, if you're interested in that, write it down, get a piece of paper like that, put your name on it. I need 15 to 20 control group people. I need 15 to 20 because not everybody's going to be available. They're going to fly in from the East Coast. I think it's on the 27th, Sunday. I think it's the 27th. And they're going to come in and do this thing. Just like we did with the samples, they're going to meet with folks. You're all going to come. They're going to tell you what to do, and you'll take the samples. So they're building that. I talked to them just today. There are all kinds of things that we need help with that we're doing.
Could you repeat what are the samples? Are the samples blood samples or are the samples?
It's a very small blood sample, but they have a way of analyzing in almost real time to get results you can't get from regular blood tests. That will tell them deeper information about, I don't know because I'm not a big brain, but
Even this far after?
yes, they think that they can get data that would be very useful. Yes?
Do you know what they'll be testing for?
I don't know the details now. I'm going to get it. I'm going to send it out. And they're not going to share that data like 23andMe. That's not what this is, right? Sure.
I'm working on a hair sampling protocol that I'm going to give to Brian to put on the website. So that way everyone can collect their sample and hold on to it. So that way when we are ready to give it to somebody, we have it before it's too late. Because as you know, your hair is growing and we don't want it to grow so long that you lose your sample.
Also, at the website, there's a post that just went up 2 days ago, which says how you can do your own sampling. Now let's talk about hair real quick. If you get your hair sampled, you can do it yourself, save a lot of money, and it's just going to give you a first cut. The best is to do it with a doctor. And I don't mean that, I mean best cut, ha. But it gives you like a first take on if there is any presence. And the blood, we all got a lot of negative tests because it circulates so fast. It goes to our kidneys and it cleans it. That's what our body does. So a lot of you got blood tests that show nothing. There's a reason for that, all right? But the hair could possibly show some further results. We've seen a couple of hair tests that came back with shockingly high metal numbers, but that was a month ago.
I'd like to pass around an article called Power Hungry. Here's a picture of the Moss Landing plant in Glen Church, and this puts it in context. The relationship of AI needing all this excessive energy. And what's AI for? Surveillance and the military. And you can read the article by the co-founder of Food Not Bombs movement, Keith McHenry. So I'll pass this around. It's really worth a read. And I think of a book I have called Toxic Sludge is Good for You. Lies, Damn Lies, and the Public Relations Industry by John Stauber and Sheldon Brampton. And I think you can change the words, right? Toxic lithium batteries are good for you. Lies, damn lie. Also, cell phones and wireless technology fit into that dangerous category. Anyway, please
Thank you
take
for
one.
being here.
This is excellent.
What we're asking is that you circle around with the folks close to you. I'll admit, it's been a while since I was at church, but this is kind of like that. Right? You're going to gather around together, and you're going to talk to each other. The goal is you just ask each other, share your stories. We've all been in this together, 90 days. Find community the way that we've been finding it, because guess what? We're in this together. We're asking, and if you have to leave, that's fine, but do that. Now, there's only one thing we're going to ask of you. As you're talking as a group, we're asking that if as a group you decide there's something really important that came out in that discussion. And you're like shaking your head and you're looking at each other, wow, you know. Any of you can stop and say, look, is that one that we want to share? Here's the favor I ask of you. If that happens, and it may not, but if that happens, I'm asking that one person in your group raise your hand. And when that happens, I ask that the rest of you, you'll hear my loud voice. And I'm going to ask you to just pause for a minute so we can hear what that group felt was important to share. Okay? And we'll just keep it fairly short. Once that's done, we'll just keep going. And maybe nothing will need to come out from the group. But if your group has something you really want to share, raise your hand. You'll hear me. I'll ask you if you can to take a moment from your conversations. And then we'll start back up. Our strength is in this community. Ideas, suggestions, solutions are in this room. So just come on up, Liza, and just the mic's on. Just share a couple things your group want to share, okay?
And this is something that our group has been mentioning, but when we're calling our representatives or we're chiming in on the Board of Supervisors, which I think is important to do, is requesting that scientific panel, requesting an independent scientific panel. I sat through a meeting at Moss Landing Marine Laboratories on Zoom the other night, and they were talking about doing an entire environmental impact report on the coastal zone of Moss Landing and looking at it as being vulnerable to tidal changes and other types of erosion vulnerabilities that make it eligible to kind of force an environmental impact report even after this permit process and see if it's safe to rebuild there at all. They've included that Vistra and the power plant will be under that. And then the other thing that came up at a meeting this week for them trying to build a new one in Watsonville was asking that human beings and students, qualify as sensitive life forms. Because I know this seems like a no-brainer, right? But it's kind of like that people are not, that corporations are not people thing. And like these corporations are having rights to do whatever they want, and they're literally not including that they're affecting, the people and the students and the animals and the agriculture and so forth that live there, and that we need to qualify as impacted life forms. And then somebody else sat through a toxicology report or a seminar and was saying that, aside from the hydrofluoric acid, aside from the heavy metals, the greater risk here that we can take as an argument is that when these batteries vaporize, they are introducing PFAS, okay, which are the microplastics that are forever chemicals, and that it is currently listed that there is no safe level of these forever chemicals. So that's an important argument is, if they don't want to get nitty gritty with us with, when we were exposed to the acid or the heavy metals, knowing that these forever chemicals are being emitted, that there's no safe level of that whatsoever. And then also asking Mbari and the aquarium, to do some further testing on, they are monitoring the sea otters as I understand, but it would be interesting to see them test all of these, sick sea lions showing up and down the coast with bizarre and severe symptoms of what they are so calling domoic acid, which we have seen toxic algae in the past, but we should be looking at testing those animals also for heavy metals and these forever chemicals, because they're not doing that right now. They're just saying, oh, we've seen this domoic acid before and this is what happens, but if you've seen, we've been fishing for years, we're very familiar with domoic acid and how that affects these animals, but they're like foaming at the mouth and like tweaking out on the beach, and like we need to look into is there other contaminants in these sea lions, and asking those questions, and asking, again, that our independent scientific panel asks for these results. These are just some good talking points and some good arguments. Okay, group 2.